Hello and welcome to Design Boss Dialogue, the podcast where bold and ambitious women in interior design come for real conversations to transform and take their businesses to new heights. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, interior designer and business mentor, here to share my experiences and insights into running an interior design business, as well as empowering you to build the confident, profitable design business you've been dreaming of and truly deserve. In this space, we blend creativity with strategy to help you craft your success and thrive in the world of design. Every episode is packed with unfiltered, no BS conversations, daily inspiration, and actionable business tips to turn your passion into a thriving, cash-rich business. Together, we're redefining what it means to succeed in the interior design industry, one intentional, game-changing decision at a time. So get ready to step up, elevate, and create the design empire you've always envisioned. Hello and welcome back to day 9 of the Design Boss Dialogue Advent Calendar podcast, your go-to source for all things interior design and business. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, and over the next 17 days, we will be unwrapping gifts of wisdom, practical tips and insider secrets to help you grow and thrive in the world of interior design. And today I am joined by a lovely guest. The gorgeous Kirsten is a social media manager with over 10 years experience in media and marketing. Over the years, Kirsten has worked on accounts such as Sainsbury's, John Lewis, Habitat and Dreams, to name a few, and has a passion and flair for interior design and beautiful properties. Kirsten set up her social media management business in 2022 to support interior designers and architects turn social media overwhelm into a thriving online presence. And she is joining me today to talk about how to leverage Instagram for your interior design business and what you should be focusing on right now. Welcome, Kirsten, to today's podcast. I'm really excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today is a really interesting topic. It's leveraging social media for your business and what it can do for interior designers and anyone in the design world, really. And when I first saw your profile, I really wanted you to come onto the podcast to talk about this, because this is something that you niche down into. Tell me more about your background and your business.
Yeah, so my background's in media and marketing, so I've done that for over 10 years now. But I really wanted to focus on working with interior designers just because, I interiors and I have such a passion for it generally. So for me, it just felt right to be working with those kind of businesses as well. I think it makes such a difference to work with someone that has that interest rather than sort of, really generalised, because I want to make the best for your business on social media, and at the same time I just absolutely love seeing all the content from the beautiful homes, so it just kind of goes hand in hand and it's great.
I love it because there are so many amazing interior designers out there and they all have beautiful work on their pages, but actually some designers don't utilize social media for their strengths, for their businesses. How could an interior design company really leverage social media?
It's really important for interior designers because what you're doing is very visual. So on social media, you want to be showcasing your work in the best possible way. So you want to ensure that you have high quality content, so high quality images, videos. Of course, on stories, you can be less curated and you can show more behind the scenes and the process. But on your main grid, you want it to be high quality so that as soon as someone comes onto your page, they're instantly captured by it. And it's great for client discovery because you have all of the ways of reaching other people, whether that's through engagement. So really reaching out to your target audience, who they are and where to find them. So then you can click on hashtags that they'll be searching. So it might be that they're looking for modern interiors. So you go onto that hashtag and you find these people, and then you interact with their content so that then you can bring them over to your page. And then if you've got this great content on your page, they're going to want to become a follower. And then if you just keep nurturing them, they could potentially be a client for you. There's other ways of reaching your potential clients, and that would be through sort of keywords and the hashtags that you use on your content.
What are the strengths of a good page? Because I've also seen recently that you've just mentioned there hashtags and keywords. Something that we've adopted recently is SEO keywords at the bottom of our content. Is this something new, and how can interior designers incorporate this into their content more?
It's quite new, yeah. So Instagram have started to make a push onto keywords. And if you go into the search bar, you can type in what you're looking for and it will come up with relevant accounts or relevant posts. So you don't have to be looking through the hashtags. What I would do is to always include within the caption itself the keywords that you think potential clients will be searching for. And of course, you want to make sure that if you're putting them in the caption, that it flows. It doesn't want to come across that you've just added in lots of random words in there. Again, if you're adding them at the bottom, that's a great way to make sure that you get the keywords in there. But you just really want to think about who your target audience is, what they'll be searching for. Again, it could be that they're looking for home renovation, elegant interiors, things like that. And then your content is more likely to show up in the results.
And when I was scrolling through your social media page the other day, I came across a really great piece of content that you had in there related to keywords, but it had interior designers Surrey. And I actually noticed that one of my one-to-one clients was the top of the list in there, and she's a fairly new designer, and it's because she has interior designers Surrey in her bio. How important is it to have keywords in your bio as well, or certainly location? Does it make it easier for clients to find you?
It does. So again, when you're searching in that search bar, if you were to type in interior designers Surrey or interior designers Kent, if you have that in your bio, you're more likely to come up. Also, it's just great for if someone comes onto your page, they can instantly see the areas that you cover. So they'll know if you're right for them or not.
It's almost like a little directory. Instead of like the BT phone pages years and years ago, and obviously the last one just went into circulation at the beginning of this year, but it's almost like a little directory. And I say to all of my one-to-one clients that Instagram is such a visual platform. And last year, I'm not sure what the statistic is this year, but last year, the statistic was 75% of online audiences naturally go to Instagram before they buy, and then buy from video content on there. So for an interior designer, I suppose it's so important for them to be utilising this as an online portfolio. What would your thoughts be on that?
Absolutely agree. So what a lot of people will do, if they've come across you somewhere else or they've seen your website, they'll go to Instagram for that social proof. They want to make sure that you are legitimate, that you're real and that you're genuine. So again, going on and seeing really high quality content is going to reinforce that. It's going to build like that initial trust for them to take the next step. It is definitely important to make sure that you are utilising it and using it as an extension of your website so that, again, like you say, it becomes your portfolio.
And in terms of creating that online portfolio, what would you say would be a really good mix of content for interior designers or anyone in the design world in general to have on there? What, in your eyes, as a social media manager, would you be advising a designer to have as a perfect balance?
So you do want to have a mix. So of course you want to have your finished projects and the beautiful designs, but it's also really important to show the process and sort of what goes in behind the scenes, how you get there, because otherwise people don't fully understand, what's involved, what it takes. They'll just see this beautiful room and they're like, well, how do I achieve that? How do I get there? How are you going to do that for me. So it's definitely important to show your process, scenes, whether you want to put that on your main grid or it's on stories and then you highlight it, but just sort of, bringing your brand to life and showing, your team, yourself, and just getting that trust with the people that are coming onto your page. And then it's also great to share testimonials. Again, that is that strong social proof. So people can see, okay, this client has said this, they must be doing a great job. And then it just sort of encourages them to get in contact with you. And then other content, I always think it's great to make sure it's really clear what your services are. So whether you want to do that as a pinned post or sort of drip it into your feed every now and then, but it's just great for people to be able to go onto your page and instantly know what you do. And then they'll know whether you're right for them, you're offering the service that they need. So it's a real mix, definitely. But you've got to get that mix right.
I think, like you say, it's really important to get the mix right. And the one thing that I focus on when one-to-one clients come and work with me in general, not interior design clients, but interior mentor clients, I always also say to them that this is such a strong, free online portfolio tool that if someone is coming onto your page, they want to be able to understand realistically what you do in the first 7 seconds of being on your page. And the first 3 posts are 9 times out of 10 what they're going to see. So they realistically should be pinned posts, and they should be welcoming people onto the page. Like you say, the services, what you offer, why someone should work with you. And it's so important to hook them in under those first 3 pinned posts so that it's almost like it sets a scene and a story so that they can go on and then binge on the rest of the content further down and keep them on the page. Do you have, or are you able to advise any statistics?
Yeah, so the longer someone is interacting and spending on a page, it's going to signal to the algorithm that it is a good page. They'll push the reach further, but also it will mean that that person who has been interacting, they will continue to see your post, because we all know we can follow lots of people and you will see a tiny fraction of those followers' content. So the more you interact with certain pages, the more you will see their content. So yeah, if you have a follower that is spending 5 minutes, which is a long time when you think about it for someone to be on your page, and yes, it will definitely push your content. And like you say, capturing people's attention straight away is so important, because we're in a very digital heavy world, content heavy world, and people's attention span might not be as long as it used to be because there's so much to see, so you keep clicking through. So it's really important that you grab their attention straight away so that they are then hooked and continue to look through your page. In terms of actual timings, kind of how long's a piece of string? I mean, the algorithm's always changing, so I don't think we truly know how long someone has to be on your page for. But even if you think of a minute, that is a long time for someone to have like that dwell time on your page. So if you can get them on for as long as possible, then you're doing a great job.
And I suppose it comes down to that snapshot of what they see first, with the image, the brand, and the bio. What in your eyes would make a really strong bio for an interior designer? One that, again, it explains exactly who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. So as we mentioned, having your interior designer Kent, the area that you cover, and then within your bio, just being really clear on who it is that you want to work with. Not just having, a generic bio, like creating beautiful interiors, because, everyone wants that, but you need to really speak to your target audience. What is it that they're struggling with? And just try and capture them. And I know you don't have very many words in your bio, but really try and capture them. And then if you can add in a call to action as well, whether it's to book like a consultation, a discovery call, to have something clear for them to take that action, then that would definitely be a strong bio. It's really hard, I think, when you're based down to 150 characters to try and get absolutely everything in there. And it almost comes down to a play of words, doesn't it? Because I'd love to have all of that in there, but it is so, so difficult. It's so difficult. Is there any tips that you could advise that would be better, in the sense of, if they couldn't get a call to action in there, is it better just to have who they service and where they service? Or if the call to action is really strong because they've got a free ebook, is it better to have that in there? If they can't get everything in,
I would suggest having a really strong bio on who it is you serve, and then you can have your link in, so you don't have to write anything to do with the call to action. But if you have your link, because I think that if you're super clear on who you're trying to attract, when they read it, they're going to be so interested, because they'll think they're talking to me, that they'll be more likely to click the link. Whereas if you had a really strong call to action, but they don't know whether it's relevant for them, they might not take action.
And also nowadays, you've got places like Linktree, where you can obviously have the link in there, but then you can have multiple links within it, which makes it really easy for the client to have their website or their lead magnets or different sales pages and put their calendar in there. So that moves me on to asking, how should we be utilising the platform effectively on a daily or weekly basis to begin with?
Especially if it's quite new to you and you don't want to feel overwhelmed, is don't go too crazy. Just make sure that you have a plan of when you're going to post. So you don't have to be on there every single day. It could be that you think, right, I can manage to post 3 times a week, and then set those times. So it might be a Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday, and have that consistency of when you're posting. Try and also think ahead with the posts that you want to put out, so that they always link back to your target audience and your goals. And then if you can plan that, you're going to have so much more of a better idea. It's going to be less overwhelming as well. And then just daily, I would set aside some time to engage with your current audience and your wider potential audience. So that's looking for people that could be potential clients, interacting with their comment, interacting with a comment on their content. And then again, if you've got followers that are commenting on your posts, always reply to them, just so that they feel valued and that you are happy to have them there. So that's definitely really important. So I'd say that they're the key things to start with daily, is to post consistently. It doesn't have to be constantly. Engage.
I love that, because that also kind of covers my next question of, what would the 3 top tips that you would give an interior designer for leveraging Instagram for their business?
I would say 100% know who your target audience is, so that you can completely tailor your content to speak to them. Think of it as sort of storytelling, and you want to capture their emotion to really get them to be interested in what it is that you are offering. Yeah, storytelling content, high visual content, absolutely. And your branding, really hone in on your branding and make sure that that comes through on your Instagram page. So always consistently using the same brand colours, the same brand fonts, and, you know, put in your logo where you can, so that it becomes more recognisable, so that you stand out against others. And once you carry your branding through across everything, you just become more memorable. The other one would be, one of my top tips would be, if you're using AI for your captions, not copy and paste, because it for some people, they might not realise that you've used ChatGPT or whatever it is that you're using for your captions. But then there's other people that just can tell instantly, and it feels like you lose your brand voice in that way. And AI is absolutely brilliant. Like, it's great for coming up with content ideas and giving you a basis, but always make sure that you are editing and getting your voice in there, so that it sounds like you and not like everybody else.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I suppose it's using it as an inspiration tool and editing or tweaking to get a little bit of you in there, because your audience will automatically, and we've all used AI for, you know, work and inspiration and to help us sometimes when we've got mind blanks. But it is right. You have to edit and tweak and make sure that your brand voice is always there. My final question before we go is, if someone is completely new to Instagram, or they've been using it for a while, but they're quite camera shy and they don't want to show the face of who's behind the brand, do you have any top tips as a social media manager to support them in slowly getting in front of the camera to show people who the face is behind the brand and to help understand the connection between the business?
Yeah, definitely. So you could even start by just doing voiceovers over some of your content so that you get used to just the speaking without your face there, so it feels a little bit more sort of laid back. So yeah, doing voiceovers and building up that confidence to speak over your content, and then just gradually, take it over to stories so that they disappear after a while. You don't have to highlight them. So you can put a story up and you don't have to show your face at first. You might be recording in front of you, but you're talking. So you're building up that confidence. Yeah. And then turn it so that it's on your face, and just do it on stories so that it's disappeared, so you don't have to worry about it always being there. Once you've built up that confidence, then take it over to your profile, onto your grid. Just remember that you don't have to do a live at that point, and if it's on your grid, you can edit it before it goes on. You can record it again until you're happy. So you don't have to feel like, I can't change this. And then once that confidence is built up, then you can move over to trying to do some lives if you want to. But I think it's one of those things that until you do it, you're not going to build up that confidence. So you've just got to bite the bullet and go for it. And you'll always be your own worst critic. Like, people aren't going to watch it and be like, oh my goodness, what are they doing?
Well, I think, like you say, we are our worst self-critics sometimes, because I think in the world of Instagram, especially with interior design, everything has to be perceived as perfect and polished. And that's how the world of design comes across. But actually, if you start showing up as you and you behind the brand, and slowly, every single day, push yourself out of your comfort zone, people relate to that a lot more than completely perfect and polished, don't they? They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see you.
Definitely. And it's that age-old saying that people buy from people, and they want to see you, the real you. And then again, it just builds up that trust, and they'll be like, oh, I love that person, I want to work with them. You can, like you say, you can relate to them a lot more, and it just brings your brand to life.
Thank you so much for joining me, Kirsten, on today's podcast. It's been really lovely to delve deep into the world of social media and how interior designers should be leveraging it for their businesses and their portfolios. And thank you so much for all of your advice.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so lovely to speak with you.
Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, as I have a trailblazer of a woman. I will be joined by an interior designer that transitioned from the healthcare industry to the world of interior design, demonstrating that it's never too late to follow your passion. Join me tomorrow morning for another empowering conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Design Boss Dialogue. If you love what you heard, then please share the podcast with your friends and any women that could do with a dose of empowerment just from me. I would love to hear your thoughts around today's podcast with your key takeaways and wins, because your feedback means everything to me. Also, don't forget to leave a review as well as hit that follow button so you never miss out on any inspiring conversations with me or any other trailblazing women I have on. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and remember, unleashing your inner design power and unlocking your true potential is only a click away. See you next time.